Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up? Wisdom, what's up? Max, how we doing, bro? Just let some people get in here. Just posted the links. Weekly forecast, man. Let's go. Let's just let some people get in here. Yo, what's up, Wayne? Bro, this week looks good. This week looks really good. Mitchell, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Julian, what's up, bro? How we doing? How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody's weekend? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Been good, enjoying the course. I love that. I love that, bro. I put it all in that course. Everything you need is in that course. Truly. I didn't hold anything out. Once you master, everything in that course, you'll be completely chilling. Alright. Been good, enjoy the course, then we scale. Yo, you just scale to the moon, bro. That's all it is. Scale to the moon. Scale to the moon. Once you have the skill set, it's just about scaling. Alright, let's get into this thing. Alright. Where we at? We on NQ right now. You pull up dollar forecast. First thing we're doing is looking at the economic calendar. Turn this music down a little bit. Alright, so the first thing we're doing is getting a feel for the economic calendar, understanding what the roadmap for the week is, understanding what days are going to be high probability and what days are going to be low probability. This economic calendar is already skewing some edge in our favor. It's giving us a higher probability of winning on these days when there's actually news and price is going to have willingness to move. So Monday we have Australian dollar red folder. I'm already noticing off the bat, because I mainly focus on USD indices lately, that we have a lot of USD news this week. But Monday we have Australian dollar red folder, wage price index. Tuesday we have British pound red folder and USD PPI. New Zealand dollar red folder as well. So on Monday I would be okay with trading Australian dollar, focusing on that. Australian dollar pairs and the currency itself are likely to move. on Monday night. Well, it's night for me, 9:30 p.m. Pound on Tuesday is valid, as well as USD and NZD. Red folder news on those days. And then we have CPI, which is a big 3 news driver. So we have a CPI news release on US dollar on Wednesday. So I won't be holding trades through that. And I'm going to, I'm not opposed to trading on Tuesday or even Monday, but I'm going to be hesitant because we might hold up for Wednesday. So what you'll see is a lot of times when we have these big 3 news drivers in the middle or end of the week, price tends to consolidate and wait up for those news drivers and kind of just mess around waiting for them. So that's something that very well could happen. So I'll be cautious of that, but I'm not opposed to trading on these days. So yeah, Wednesday we have the big 3 news driver CPI on USD. We have CPI on British pound, and then unemployment change in rate on Australian dollar. And then Thursday we have a Euro bank holiday, so you don't want to be trading Euro on Thursday when there's a bank holiday. You have pound, GDP red folder, and then USD red folder, and AUD red folder. And then Friday we only have British pound. So looks like a lot of news this week. Looks really, really good. I think that we could get a nice amount of volatility and delivery this week. I'm hoping, not to mention we just had such a extremely bad week of price delivery and just consolidating, just sloppy price action last week, that it would be nice to get an expansion this week after that consolidation. Burger, what's up, bro? How you doing? Julian, what about swings through CPI? I wouldn't hold them. If you're on an evaluation and you don't really care about it, then that's another story, but I would not do that on funded or live accounts personally. From my experience, it's not a smart thing to do when there's USD, CPI, or any big 3. It still affects the crosses, it still affects the majors, it affects everything. So USD is a world currency, it affects everything. Emmanuel, what's up, bro? Greetings from Nigeria. Shout out Nigeria, man. That's sick. Why you and Pickle are always streaming or uploading videos at the same time? It just happens like that, man. I don't know. I was busy this entire morning. This was literally the earliest time that I could stream, unfortunately. I've been really busy. I had plans this morning. Then I went to the farmer's market, got a bunch of food and meat and stuff. And then now, this is really the earliest that I could do. But yeah, it does seem like that a lot. I'm gonna lie. Alright, so let's talk about dollar. First thing we're doing is starting on dollar. Dollar is a world currency. What you guys see on these forecasts is that I always start on the currencies. I always start on, the most important thing, which is the world currency. It's dollar. And then before we even get into the forecast, there is one thing I do need to plug. Today was the launch of my private group. And so I've been hyping it up for a while. I'm super hyped to announce that the private group is officially out. So if you guys want to join that, check it out, whatever, you can do so. The link to that, I'll drop the link right here. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this up on my phone. But yeah, bro, I'm so hyped to announce that. It's going to be sick. I can't wait to have you guys in there. Can't wait to, level you guys up as traders. So what's up, Hermes? What's up, man? Trading Hermes. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And I don't know why I said trading Hermes. And VM Hermes. I don't know why I called you trading Hermes. I gotta send it as a better link. But yeah, private group just announced. I'm hyped. So hyped for launch of this. So if you guys haven't tuned into that, checked it out, definitely check out the private group. We have a full curriculum that I'm doing as well, with everything from the top down. I literally did not hold anything back in that curriculum. It has everything that you need to be consistently profitable. Of course, you need to master yourself. You need to master your skill set, your discipline, etc. But once you've done that, you will be able to kill it with the stuff that's in that curriculum. And so definitely check that out. I have to do that little shameless plug because it is launch day. And so definitely go to the website that I just linked in the chat and join the private group. I can't wait to see you guys in there. All right, let's get through it. Now that I got that little plug out. Dollar, the very first thing that we're doing going into every week is looking at dollar. Dollar is the world currency. What's up, Zag? What's up, my boy? We're looking at the world currency, right? The most important currency. US dollar. It affects everything. Well, like we just talked about, US dollar has a big 3 news driver on Wednesday. We have CPI. So we have no US dollar news on Monday. We have what? I think it was PPI on Tuesday, red folder, and then CPI on Wednesday. So this weekly already, looking at the back, actually, let me go to the monthly. Not much on the monthly. We have consolidation, sloppy monthly delivery. Not much that you can pull from this. You know, we just took this sell side down here. Well, I don't know why I put SMC. We just took this sell side and now we are wicking it, showing potential respect of this area. But if we drop into the weekly, it gets a lot more clear. I'm only focused on the current legs, the current price action. So we're sweeping this discount array, this sell side, to likely pull back into this area here. We have nice, clean weekly context on dollar. Love, love, love to see that. Looks really, really nice. Not to mention this week was pretty sloppy in, you know, consolidation. So I want to see an expansion this week. A sting into this area here and then lower would be really, really nice on dollar. That's something that I would be expecting here. So from internal to external, however you want to frame it, fair value to, you know, sell side liquidity here. That's what I would be expecting. Of course, I need to see the lower time frames confirm that from this weekly area. So I need to see the 4-hour shift state of delivery, 4-hour order flow confirm that we actually want to head lower. And then from there, we could have really nice lower dollar. But again, the monthly is gross. We swept that sell side. So if that doesn't happen and we just don't shift order flow from here and we begin trading higher, then we have to adjust. And this is why I always say, you know, I say this to everyone. I say this in the Discord all the time, man. It's not about being right or wrong. I could care less if I'm right. You know, if I'm expecting this to hold, I could care less if it does or doesn't. What I need to be able to do is be fluid with price and react. So if we just trade higher and end up, you know, sweeping this monthly sell side and moving back into this monthly range, I'm fluid with that. I'm okay, like, to react to that, right? I don't impose what I need to see on price. So if we never shift and confirm this is moving lower, then I adjust and I'm fluid with price. But this is what I would be expecting here is a move from internal to external on the weekly. Could be really nice weekly context. And when dollar's clear, you want to be focusing on the majors and USD pairs. So could be really, really nice if we get that. Don't even really need to look at the daily. It's not going to provide anything more than what we have right here with the weekly. So the daily, I would just want to see trade up into this weekly level here. And then shift on the 4-hour to confirm that we're actually moving lower from this weekly premium array. So that's pretty straightforward on dollar. Again, I'm not even looking at the 4-hour, 1-hour, 15-minute. All I look at on these Sundays is monthly, weekly, daily, and I get a feel for what the higher time frame is doing, what, you know, premium or discount arrays it's trading off of, what the draw on liquidity is, etc., etc. And then I'm just building a narrative from the top down based on the fair value gaps, based on the order flow. So Australian dollar. Well, we have potentially a bearish dollar. So these currencies are going to trade inverse. We're sweeping this monthly sell side on Australian dollar, which is interesting. Not much to see on the monthly though. We have this weekly context on Australian dollar. So based on the order flow, it does have this potential weekly context here, but we have a potentially bearish dollar as well. So it doesn't really agree. Right, the order flow is saying one thing, but the draw on dollar is saying another thing. So that'll be interesting. But we do have this internal to external weekly context on Australian dollar. I just don't know if that's going to deliver well or what. I guess it really depends on if dollar respects that weekly gap and if we get a bearish dollar. British pound monthly, pretty gross. Again, not much to pull from on this monthly time frame. We do have, you know, I would consider this objectively bullish order flow, but not the cleanest. This doesn't look that obvious to me. We had this area here. Looking at this most recent price leg, right? We had this gap with the overlapping high. We failed to deliver higher from. We're failing to respect. And so the order flow to me, this order flow to me looks like this wants to target sell side, but then again, we have bearish dollar. But based on this order flow, I'd actually be looking at this weekly low, this sell side, because I don't expect us to respect this area. But then again, that's counterintuitive to what I'm seeing on dollar with a bearish dollar. So kind of conflicting analysis here in terms of what the order flow on the currencies are saying and what dollar, or at least what my draw on liquidity on dollar is. Which one are no trading days? You never want to trade on bank holidays. If you want to be picky and demand news on the day, then I would only trade on red folder news days for the currencies and whatnot. But like for things like indices, ES and Q and things like that, I will trade on days without news personally. As long as it's within New York kill zone, we can move. So monthly bearish order flow, sloppy on the monthly, weekly. Failing to deliver lower from this area of fair value, which is not a good sign for shorts right now. We also have bearish dollar. In my opinion, that's what I would be expecting. So I do think that this can actually head higher here. I don't like this close through this area of fair value here. If we continue to create gaps higher and daily 4-hour gaps higher and we never shift, then I'd actually be looking for us to target the buy side up there. But kind of conflicting again. Nothing looks that clean to me on the currencies to where I'm like, this is beautiful. I do like the weekly context on dollar though. That could be really nice to head lower from. But we did again just sweep that monthly sell side, so it's kind of conflicting all around to me right now. Monthly consolidation, not much that you can pull from this. I mean, what do you want to get from this, right? It's just sweeping both sides, consolidating on the monthly. Weekly internal to external played out like we expected the other week, but now we're sweeping this buy side again back into the range. It's that monthly consolidation. So I really don't like euro. Looks pretty gross to me on the higher time frame. We have this daily gap, overlapping area. Just don't love anything. Surprising because I am expecting bearish dollar. Yen, I do think can head lower from this area of fair value. So this is an area where, you know, if we respect and shift, I would actually be expecting lower on yen. We want to submit to this higher time frame trend, which is very, very clearly bearish, right? It's not that hard to figure out that this is a extremely weak bearish currency. So we want to submit to that higher time frame trend. Even with the strength right now, this is just a correction, right? Price is always going to have its retracements. It needs to do this. This is something that needs to happen. So if the daily is shifting, once we get this new daily gap lower, I'd be ready to start looking at these yen shorts. Based on this order flow, that's what I'd be saying. That area of fair value, beautiful respect of it right now as well. Trading into that monthly OB, you know, which again is the area of fair value. We do have this weekly gap, so it may be low probability until we begin to trade through that gap. So what you can do is kind of let price do its thing. I don't know why I marked unicorn. Let price do its thing from this gap, you know, because we might tend to consolidate here. Let it create daily gaps through the weekly gap and actually show the intention of wanting to head lower. So I'm not ready for shorts on yen, but if it does set up and look clean, then yeah, that could be nice. But again, then we have bearish dollar. So it's just everything's going against it. You know, you want to see dollar in agreement with the order flow on these currencies, and right now it's not. So again, monthly area of fair value, monthly PD array, order block, whatever you want to call it. So you want to see the daily shift and create gaps lower. And then we're going to need to see that weekly fair value gap get disrespected, because right now we kind of have trapped order flow where we're going to have this monthly area of fair value sending it lower into the weekly gap. So yeah, you want to wait on that for sure. I'm not ready on yen, but it could set up. Monthly sell side got swept here. Now we're retracing back into the range. On New Zealand dollar, we have this weekly. Let me see this. Monthly bearish order flow weekly. Gaps here. You're just sloppy, bro. Nothing that I've looked at yet has made me feel like this is high probability. Like literally nothing. I can see this heading lower from here. But again, we have bearish dollar, bro. It just goes against everything right now. Not what you want to see. Low probability when things are not agreeing, when things just don't feel obvious. Weekly internal to external could be setting up here, but this wick, this rejection is very, very strong. I want to see how we react from that area though. We do have objectively bullish weekly order flow now. So you could get a nice move from internal to external on Swiss franc, and that would agree with bearish dollar. So I'll add it to the wait list. Actually, I'll add it to the long list because it already has a context and it looks potentially ready to go, but that's a pretty strong retracement. So you want to see the 4-hour shift from this weekly gap right here. You want to see this 4-hour order flow confirm that we're actually going to want to move higher from here. Going to be the same analysis on AU, EU, GU, etc., etc., etc. Monthly just looks gross. Not much that you can pull from this. Let me look at the chat real quick. Sorry guys, 1 second. I'm just about to read the chat. I don't want to leave you guys in the dust. 4-hour might be shifting from weekly gap. Sorry, I meant for this week. So a lot of yen pairs and AUD USD on the higher time frame, they seem to have massive sweep go to the upside, but they also have bearish for value. How do you approach something like that? Yeah, you don't want to see that strong of a rejection. I tend to just wait. Forex been shitty for a while. Indices moving nice, so maybe indices will be the focus this week. Love you, sir. I'm from India. What's up, bro? Appreciate that. Yeah, last week was really gross. I'm hoping that things will be cleaner this week, but I'm going to be a bit cautious. Nothing in terms of the currencies look that clean to me right now. So AU swept this sell side. Then we have the internal to external. But I also am bearish on dollar. So again, it's going to be the same analysis for the majors as these currencies that I just looked at. It would just be inverse for these. Same thing though. Let's look at the crosses. So we have this area of fair value here where if we wanted to head higher, we should do so from here. We still are kind of wicking it. You know, the body is respecting it, but not ideal. Not the most beautiful respect of this area. Now we have this new weekly gap lower. Not the most beautiful delivery to me. Monthly took this sell side weekly gap up here. This is the area of fair value. Overlapping area. Actually, we've already offered fair value all through this. Interesting. Essentially looking at that gap as a draw on AUD-CHF. Monthly sell side sweep, weekly draw to internal potentially. Could see longs on that towards the gap if you want. Monthly sell side sweep again. Weekly, setting up this weekly gap here to potentially head lower from. Want to watch the area here and see if it shifts from that weekly gap on AUD-JPY. Really, really strong retracement here on Australian dollar yen. AUD and ZD respecting this monthly gap still. Weekly gap here getting respected as well. Just not pretty at all. You know, now we have trapped order flow where we have this weekly bullish gap sending it into the weekly bearish gap. Just nothing looks good. There's nothing here that's been catching my eye to the point where I'm like, wow, this looks beautiful. You know, occasionally there's those crosses or whatever in these streams where I'm like, this is great. I love this. And I haven't gotten that yet. So That looks pretty gross. Trapped order flow. Another monthly sell side sweep. Monthly bearish order flow. Weekly gap here, setting up. Could see nice internal to external move from this weekly gap as well. CAD yen, everything's just sweeping. Literally everything's just sweeping and then setting up weekly context. That's crazy. Monthly bullish order flow, we're getting a strong retracement. We do have this weekly context. Makes me suss how the monthly order flow is still bullish. Interesting. I'll add it. Monthly did not sweep the sell side yet, which is also interesting. Swiss franc yen. Weekly gap didn't get created. This is actually looking weaker than everything else. But there's no context. Monthly buy side sweep. Weekly gap getting drawn to. Could potentially head higher from this weekly gap here. Really strong buy side sweep though and rejection. Not ideal. Not something that you want to see. I don't love it. Just meh. Everything. If you can't tell everything, the theme right now is just meh. It's not high probability. You know, we sting into this area of fair value here, this fair value gap, and we fail to head higher. Not what you want to be seeing. And definitely not looking at longs on this based on that rejection. This looks like it's setting up shorts. I'd actually be looking at this sell side here, but there's no context besides this weekly gap. Or sorry, this daily gap up here. I'm actually bearish on EuroCAD. Yeah. Monthly buy side sweep. Failing to deliver higher from that weekly gap. Monthly sell side sweep. Bro, everything just looks... These are the type of weeks with Forex like where I need to see clarity. I wait for clarity because right now this just doesn't look that beautiful to me at all. Like nothing is standing out right now. Overlapping area, weekly gap. But that monthly sell side sweep, it's just everything is not ideal right now, in my opinion. This is the area of fair value where if we're going to head lower, we should do so from here. If we fail to deliver lower from this weekly area of fair value, then I'd actually be looking to target higher because we're sweeping the monthly sell side. We're failing to deliver lower from this weekly area of fair value. So that's literally that analysis right there can pretty much sum up everything that I've been looking at. Like that is pretty much the majority of things that I'm looking at. We have the weekly context after sweeping a monthly sell side or buy side. And then I'm looking at the area of fair value. If we fail to deliver from them, then I'd actually want to expect price to move the other way. But if we respect and shift order flow, then I'm looking for lower. That's literally the analysis for like everything right now. Like not even exaggerating. Everything is sweeping and setting up this weekly context. Monthly bearish order flow. Sloppy monthly delivery. Weekly shifting state of delivery. High probability change in state of delivery here. Weekly bullish. Shift in order flow here. Interesting. EG looks more bullish to me, for sure. Bullish on EG, which means Euro should be stronger than Pound right now. Monthly, pulling back. Strong retracement. Weekly, setting up this weekly SIBI. Not bad. Monthly sell side sweep again. buy side, monthly buy side sweep again. Failing to deliver higher. Well, we did deliver higher towards the external, this buy side here, but now we're failing to create new fair value gaps higher, so that's pretty sus to me. I don't like this. This looks sus. Sussy. Monthly bullish order flow. OB here. Weekly gap. This area for value is getting respected, but not that nice. Want to see the 4-hour shift create gaps higher if we're going to head higher. Could potentially respect this area, but I don't really like this close on the weekly. But I'll add it. Monthly, gross, but bullish. Weekly, area for value here is, well, I would actually consider this the overlapping area. Interesting close. Pretty strong close through. I don't like that a lot. Probably creating daily gaps too. So I want to see how price reacts from this daily gap, because we could potentially just continue lower and actually target this sell side depending on if we respect the daily gap. So very, very 50-50 to me on that. I don't like that. Monthly bearish order flow. We get the stop hunt here. Weekly context setting up. This doesn't look that bad. This actually does not look that bad. It's not, nothing is amazing, but that looks moderately okay for lower. Or we took the monthly buy side, shift state of delivery. Now we have weekly context setting up. Haven't swept the sell side yet. Weekly context setting up. Huge gap. GBP, NZD. Bullish monthly order flow. Order block here. Weekly. This is our area for value we want to see get respected, where we can potentially hit higher from. I'll add it again. Just don't love anything right now. I'm adding stuff, but it just is meh. Monthly consolidation. Weekly gap lower being respected by price, but then it just didn't follow through. Don't like that very much. No daily gap lower. Not a huge fan of that. Monthly bearish order flow. Stop hunt. You know, we sweep the buy side. Weekly gap here. This overlapping area. Could deliver lower from that weekly gap. Same thing on these XXXDN pairs. The thing is, like, going into the Forex week, if these currencies don't feel obvious, then I already know things are going to be meh. Like, I need to feel like I have a very, very clear currency. I want a really clear strong currency and then a really clear weak currency. And that'll tell me going into the week, okay, I want to focus on XXX whatever pairs, or, you know, JPY XXX pair, or, like, you know what I'm saying. There's no JPY XXX, but CAD XXX pairs or XXX CAD pairs. Like, that's what I want. I want to understand where these currencies are going very, very clearly. And when I can't do that, I already know that things are going to be sloppy. Indices are in an interesting spot. So I'm going to give some thoughts on indices here. We have monthly bullish order flow. The higher time frame order flow is king. You know, monthly bullish order flow. The trend of the monthly is king. We have this order block that we are still kind of respecting. We still have 19 days on this monthly candle, so we can still respect this order block. We need to see if we're going to be long. So there's two scenarios here. This is what I mean about being fluid with price. This is what I mean about understanding order flow in the fair value gaps. We have this weekly context setting up. where we can potentially head lower from this fair value gap, internal to external on the weekly. But the monthly order flow is bullish, and this is a strong retracement. So what I want to be doing is reading the daily order flow and reading that reaction of that weekly gap. Because if the daily order flow creates new fair value gaps higher and disrespects that weekly context, aka fair value gap, then I'd actually be looking for higher prices. But if we shift and respect this weekly gap and we don't shift order flow on the daily, then I'm looking for lower. So the 4 hour and daily order flow from this weekly area is going to be key for what to expect here. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm seeing. So I want to gauge how we react from that weekly gap. NQ swept the monthly sell side as well, which is a major discount array. Then we have the weekly gap setting up, but a strong retracement into this area here. And so I want to see how we react from that area. If we create gaps through it and we just continue higher, then I'm expecting higher prices. This fair value gap on the weekly will be very telling. So we'll see on that. Monthly, sloppy. Weekly gap up here, pretty small though. Daily has been very bullish. Man, almost all the yen or CHF pairs have monthly sweeps. I know, it's insane, bro. Exactly. Can you call us CRT? I don't know, bro. I don't care about CRT. I don't pay attention to it. You gotta ask someone else. But wouldn't it get to the premium before delivery lower? I don't know which one you're talking about. Would that not be a continuation breaker on GBP CAD, and that's why price is drawing deep in the fair value? GBP CAD. What time frame? This, I wouldn't consider this a breaker. We didn't sweep a swing low. If you're looking at that weekly, is that what you're talking about? On the weekly, I wouldn't consider this a breaker. This to me is a mitigation block or order block. I'm looking at this weekly gap, but crude oil doesn't look that good. Bro, it's just sloppy. This is August. You got to understand, this is historically the worst month to trade. So things are just gross right now. Like, nothing looks beautiful to me. There's nothing that stands out where I'm like, this is high probability. I mean, look at gold, bro. Look at gold. This is disgusting. Just straight chop. Yes, you can catch your piece of this on the lower time frames, but this is just gross. Look at the daily. You see how we're failing to create any daily gaps? We're failing to show any sign of wanting to do much. Yes, we're creating this gap here on this new gap on the daily, but the weekly chop, the monthly, they're telling the story. This is not the highest probability. So I am looking at this daily gap. You can catch your piece on the lower time frames, but just understand that this is not the most favorable conditions. It's August. Things are just not that obvious. We'll see if that daily gap follows through. I like looking at silver as well to correlate with gold. Silver traded into this order block. Weekly gap up here. Daily SIBI here. Just conflicting areas. I want to see how we react from this gap, because I do think that we can actually still continue higher potentially. On the monthly, we have this order block holding. We'll see how we react from this area here. If this, because right now this candle's respecting this daily SIBI, this internal, so that could send it lower. I want to see if we get new gaps lower, or if we trade through it. Could go either way. So we have this weekly gap up here. Gold is creating a daily bullish fair value gap, so it's very conflicting things here. Gold is very clearly stronger than silver. Silver is very clearly weaker. But I don't know. This looks conflicting. Everything, man. Do you guys see the theme? This is how you know when things are low probability, when nothing feels that obvious. You're going to see a lack of fair value gaps. You're going to see a lack of clarity all around in the markets, and that's when you know conditions are just not favorable. I have like a week trying to spot real SMT and Forex, but I'm not there yet. If you can help, you can spot SMT on any time frame. Just use 2 correlated pairs, and then literally all you're looking at is, if this is one pair, let's just say that you're looking at ES and NQ. Literally all you're doing for SMT is looking at one pair. Let's just say this is ES. And then you're looking for the other pair. So if we're shorting, let's just assume that we're looking for a short. We're looking for one of these correlated pairs to fail and create a failure swing. So this is NQ. Do you see how NQ fails to sweep this high? So NQ is failing to put in a higher high here and sweep that high. And so this is indicating relative weakness on NASDAQ. Because we're failing, we're creating a failure swing is what it's called. This is a breaker swing. This is a failure swing. So because we're creating this failure swing on NASDAQ, NASDAQ is weaker. It's showing signs of weakness, relative weakness. So you want to be shorting this, and that's literally all SMT is. That's the easiest way you can think about it. There's no reason to think about it any other way. Look for a failure swing. The one that creates the failure swing is the weaker or stronger. So if we want to inverse that really quickly for the sake of explaining this to you, that is ES. Well, we're looking for a long idea here. ES swept this and put in a breaker swing point. So what are we looking for NQ to do? We're looking for NQ to create a failure swing. That indicates relative strength on NQ. So this is a relatively stronger of the two. Now you want a long NQ because it's relatively stronger. That's the best way I can explain it. Yeah, things are just not great right now. I think minus weekly for value gap on ES could be low probability to hold given weekly bullish. And yeah, I agree. And strong bullish. Yeah, that's fair. That's why I agree. That's pretty much what I was saying, as well as I want to see how we react from it. Not to mention that NQ swept the sell side on the monthly. So this is a strong discount array on the monthly. So NQ sweeping a strong discount array, monthly sell side. We're hunting that sell side. We have bullish monthly order flow. Then we have this super strong retracement setting up this weekly gap. But I could see this going either way. I could see us easily trading through that and continuing higher and actually following through on this monthly trend. Or I could see us respecting it and heading lower. So to me, it's 50-50. I need to see how we react from that weekly gap. That's basically my plan going forward on the week. And from there, whether, if we create gaps lower from the weekly gap, then I'm bearish on indices. I'll short the rest of the week and look for that external on the weekly. But if we trade through it and go higher, then I'm bullish. And I'm looking for this monthly trend to fall through. And I want to see a daily gap through the weekly gap to confirm that this bullish, or that this order flow on the daily is bullish. And that's it. We're just reacting to order flow, reacting to fair value gaps. But I agree with you, Zach. I could see it going either way. I would argue, or not argue, I would concur, I would agree that this weekly gap is more low probability. I could see it going either way with the monthly order flow and NQ sweeping that sell side. What asset do you primarily trade? So lately I've been focused on ES and NQ mainly. I've also been looking at crude oil and gold and silver. And then I've just been showing up between 8 to 12 and trading futures lately. It's been a lot better. I have a lot going on, so I haven't been looking at Forex as much. I just don't want to get burnt out. I felt myself getting a bit burnt out. You guys got to understand I'm doing the trading every morning. I'm doing all the social media stuff. I'm teaching. I'm helping, people all the time. I love doing it, but I also need to make sure that I don't get burnt out. So I've just been focusing on indices and metals and oil, which isn't a metal, obviously. But indices and commodities at 8 to 12 futures trading is what I've been doing. But mainly indices have been treating me the best besides the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have been sloppy. But July was really nice, at least for my model. Do you take trades on the 5-minute and 15-minute on Forex pairs? And if yes, does it have to be in any specific kill zone? Yeah, you always want to be operating within a kill zone if you're entering on the 5-minute and 15-minute, because that's an intraday entry. So if you're entering intraday, you always want to be operating within a kill zone. So Most of Forex moves the best in London, and so that's when you should be doing it. But let me look at the chat. I believe we have an SMT on the weekly between ES and NQ. Let's look at it. Yeah, so if we follow through higher and we actually fail this gap, then yes, this would be an SMT, a bullish SMT, indicating down the weekly that the S&P 500 is stronger than NASDAQ on the weekly time frame. But yeah, I don't use SMT. I don't need to see it. I can just inherently see that, you know, based on the gaps, based on what price is doing, that's happening. So yes, but I agree. If we follow through higher and we actually continue higher, then yes, looks stronger than NASDAQ on the weekly time frame. Because this is creating a failure swing, and this is sweeping, creating a potential breaker swing. So it comes down to that weekly gap and how we react from it. First time here, is this every Sunday? Yes, sir. Every single Sunday, I do these weekly forecasts. I also am in the Discord all the time, doing my analysis, calling stuff out. But yeah, every single Sunday, I do the weekly forecast. Have you checked Dixie? Yeah, I start with Dixie every stream. On NQU contract, we didn't sweep that low on the monthly, by the way. I just look at the continuous. Let me look at NQU though. Interesting. Is NQU the current contract? Because then the continuous should be the same thing. But yeah, different data feeds, whatever contracts, it does that a lot, especially with Forex, CFDs and whatnot. Like if you look at NASDAQ futures and then the US 100 CFD or something, a lot of times that happens with the broker feeds. What is NQ1 though? I thought NQ1 is NQU. The NQ1 is a continuous contract where it rolls over into the current contract. So I feel like NQ1 should be NQU. So that's confusing me. Yeah, that's pretty confusing. I don't know why NQU wouldn't have swept, because NQ1 should be NQU, if that makes sense. But regardless, I'm not worried about it. I'm looking at NQ1. That's what I use. Did you take any trades this week? Nope. Last week was bad, man. Last 2 weeks have been really, really slow for me, unfortunately. Either way, we read the order flow at the weekly gap. Exactly. That's literally it. Do we create gaps through the weekly gap and disrespect, or do we respect that, shift order flow on the 4 hour and create gaps lower? That's literally all it is. Simple as that. Patiently waiting for reaction from weekly for value gap, respect or short, or disrespect and long. Exactly. Isn't it crazy how simple it is? Like, really think about it, Zach, how simple it's become. Like, that's so crazy how that's literally it. It just comes down to, all right, we trade into the weekly gap. Do we create gaps out of it and shift order flow, or do we create gaps through it and not shift order flow? Then we're probably continuing this monthly trend. It's literally that simple. It's crazy to think about how far like things have come in terms of simplicity and viewing price and everything. Just grateful. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say. Things don't look that great. I will be in my private group, calling stuff out the entire week. I'm hyped for this next week of trading, doing analysis, live trading in there, whatnot, everything. And we do have a lot of volatility, so indices have my focus more this week. I mean, I've been focusing on indices in general lately and focusing on futures, so I'm biased towards this. But even so, currencies and Forex just don't look that great to me. Not to say that you can't trade them, you can, but just make sure that you're picking the highest probability out of them. And everything right now is just like sweeping premium arrays on the monthly or discount arrays on the monthly. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely favoring indices and reading how we react from this gap to either long or short intraday, focusing on indices and commodities in general with my model during 8 to 12. So I'm biased, but I haven't eaten yet today. I literally haven't eaten. I was playing pickleball in the morning. Then I went to the farmer's market and got a bunch of grass-fed meat and some stuff. And yeah, I haven't eaten, so I need to go eat really bad. I'm really hungry right now. But I appreciate you guys tuning into the forecast. For those of you that haven't seen the private group, check the link that I sent earlier. It's just tradingpatiently.com. Check out the private group. We're going to be doing live trading in there, weekly, forecasts and everything in there as well. But I just go much more in depth. I won't hold anything back. And there's a full curriculum as well. So there's literally a full course. So definitely check that out, tradingpatiently.com. Would love to have you guys in there and, help you guys build your skill set. So with that being said, I'm probably going to wrap it up here. A little bit of a shorter weekly forecast, but those are my thoughts on everything. I really, really need to eat. So I'm sorry, guys, but I appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate all of you. Let's have a great week, and I'll see you guys in the Discord.